Jon Stewart has some choice words for his boss, Shari Redstone. The comedian is putting Paramount Global chair on blast for capitulating to President Trump. Let's watch.
What you're seeing now is all must pay tribute to the king. And the price of that, the price of peace is different. The guy from 60 Minutes, and the reason why the head of CBS News left, is it's not even about the money, which I think is, they've said is upwards of like 50 million. Imagine paying $50 million for nothing just to get somebody to approve a merger.
As a reminder, President Trump is suing CBS for $20 billion over their 60-minute interview with Kamala Harris. He says the interview was deceitfully edited. CBS has denied that, but the fallout led veteran 60 Minutes executive producer Bill Owens to resign, and CBS president and CEO Wendy McMahon has also stepped down.
It's important to note that Stewart's Comedy Central is owned by Paramount. His comments come as Redstone is looking to advance an $8 billion merger with Skydance Media. Well, Redstone also stands to personally gain $2 billion herself if the Skydance merger goes through. So that's a big incentive to get this solved. But I also think when media executives prioritize their shareholder values over the press freedom, then that becomes problematic and we lose access to what we know as honest reporting. And so we want to make sure that we're getting that, especially from institutions that have been around all these years and have done a good job, which I believe they have, 60 Minutes, of doing things like this. And so when you pay President Trump because he doesn't like what you said, as opposed to actually providing false information to your viewers, I think you're setting a precedent that basically anything goes, and if we don't make him happy, then we don't get anything else. And the businesses should be separate. Like, free press should be separate from anything else that is happening with the Skydance merger.
I mean, I see it a little differently. Journalism is a business, like it or not, if that's your model. Some journalistic institutions have different funding models. You can have advertising as your funding model. You can be donor driven if you're a nonprofit. You can be subscriber driven if you're one of the new Patreon or Substack or something like that. If you work for a large media company, you're largely advertiser driven, and yes, you have to serve your shareholders. I mean, look, I agree that can cause some awkwardness, especially if you're a large media company with a bunch of different properties, right? They're trying to prioritize this merger a little bit at the sacrifice of the news product, because the news product is not exactly what they value, and maybe that's a shame. I do think this is, it's a bit rich to hear them say that this is just trying to keep our journalism objective. I don't think their journalism was objective. I think their journalism, I agree with Trump that it was somewhat at least deceitful, maybe not to the extent he's making it out to be, the editing of that interview. I also don't really think it mattered in terms of the election all that much. So the election interference claim is, again, sensational. And I don't think you should sue them. I think they have the right to put out dishonest, one would even say misinformation. I don't think
we need to clarify for anyone who doesn't know the
illegal.
dishonesty that he's talking about is taking out and a pause break in Kamala's answer.
They condensed how quickly she responded to a question.
So that changed her entire answer, which you thought was trash anyway.
It's misinformation.
That's not misinformation. That's cutting out a breath. Because you know how shows work?
When I was told, we didn't fully explain the context, give why Biden randomly wandered off, it was misinformation. That's what I was told. It's misinformation because we didn't have all of the context available in that one video clip of him wandering off.
Is it worth
okay, that's misinformation. But it's not misinformation when we get rid of all the context for Kamala Harris not being able to come up with that answer quick enough. Again, these are value judgments that people disagree over. There's no objective, these cases are not objective fact or objective falsehood. There's room for interpretation and debate.
For sure,
and I think they're allowed to do that. Again, I don't think the government or Trump personally should swoop in and prohibit it.
Like he's doing with NPR as well, government-funded
Well, they don't have a right to government. They don't have a right to government funding.
Yeah, people want access to fair reporting, which come on, PBS is pretty
I would
down the middle,
cancel that.
straightforward. What are we talking about?
I would cancel the funding for PBS.
They
and
do
NPR
Find Your Roots.
immediately.
You're so annoyed by their reporting about finding people's roots. They do holistic,
I'm not
interesting
annoyed by it.
programming that
It's
shows
not
both
something
sides.
the government has any reason funding.
Well, if you think that private institutions lean on commercials and advertisers and have other mixed interests that may get in the way of what CBS is trying to do, like we're seeing in this instant with Shari Redstone, well, then PBS and NPR are alternatives to that, funded by the government that actually.
You think that doesn't create any conflicts of interest? You're seeing it right now. The government comes after them.
Because he doesn't like what they say, not because what they say is untrue.
No,
and that's the problem.
No, it's both. I would absolutely get rid of those things very, very rapidly. That does it for us today on Rising Live. Look out for more exclusive YouTube content, which is coming your way today. And you can be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Hills YouTube channel so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you can listen to podcasts. And we will see you back here tomorrow, because it's not Thursday yet. Tomorrow's Thursday.
It's not. I don't know what day it is.
See you then.